I just watched a news broadcast that said 8 out of 10 Americans believe in angels. I find this inspiring because of what I'm about to say. Have you ever wondered who or what angels are? A person's understanding or acceptance of things we can't see or explain are typically based on that person's own life experiences. Life is a series of lessons that must be experienced to be fully understood. Once you experience certain things, you can no longer deny they exist. I have faith that this message will reach the people it is intended to reach because that's the way the universe works. Those of you who know the truth, this message will resonate the highest with you. Since the day after the tragic accident that took the lives of Kobe Bryant, his daughter, and 7 other people, I've been having conversations with Kobe. During the course of these conversations, I've come to understand more about what happened that fateful day. I don't know Kobe personally, and I know little about his career with the Lakers. I've seen maybe a handful of interviews over the last decade as a Phoenix Suns fan. I have no way of personally gauging who Kobe is or what is important to him. What I sense of his personality comes from my recent interactions. Kobe is upset by the rhetoric and narrative currently circulating and is saddened by the need to place blame. It is important to Kobe that the truth about the pilot, Ara Zobayan, be known now, rather than 8 to 9 months from now when the report comes out. He has faith that the facts will reveal the truth, but he doesn't want people holding an inaccurate belief until then, as this will have a negative effect on everyone. I will provide a more detailed account in time, and I will post it on my Facebook page and my YouTube channel. But for now, I will briefly explain my understanding of the events that took place that day. I struggle to find the proper words to use when describing Kobe, but integrity, loyalty, pride, judgmental. He says he prefers opinionated. Well, these are just a few words that come to mind. Now, it's important not to get hung up on semantics. Seek the true message instead. Listen to comprehend it, not to seek reasons to support your contrary beliefs. I feel a tremendous amount of pressure to portray this situation accurately and respectfully, because Kobe thought about everything he did before he did it. He was methodical in his choices, including his choice of taking a helicopter or a car to basketball games. He chose the safer of the two because a person is far more likely to die in a car crash in the Los Angeles area than in a helicopter. The craft was in meticulous condition and had a very good maintenance program. The type of helicopter he chose was also a very well-made aircraft. The helicopter ride should have lasted about 15 minutes. They took a different route because of the fog, but 2/3 of the trip they weren't too concerned because the ride had been fairly smooth. Everyone on board appeared fine, and the conversation stemmed around the upcoming game for the girls. Only minutes after receiving the approval to continue on from air traffic control, the pilot developed a gut feeling, so he requested to be notified of other aircraft in the airspace. Unfortunately, they were too low at the time for that type of tracking. He had sensed danger, but had no explanation as to why. The low fog provided 2 choices of where to fly. Flying above meant they would be in air traffic controlled airspace, subject to delays and further requirements, but would have the aid of the air traffic controllers. The other choice is to fly low and use visual landmarks as guides, which is what most helicopter pilots choose. With the use of a GPS system in his own eyes, the pilot successfully navigated the helicopter almost the entire way by choosing to fly low. He was following the 101 freeway as his guide, and they were only minutes from their final destination. Due to upcoming mountainous terrain, a thick pocket of fog had formed, and the density made it look like a cloud. The pilot realized he wouldn't be able to keep a visual contact with the 101 freeway in that dense fog. He knew the only safe choice was to ascend to clear the fog and enter air traffic controlled airspace for the duration of the flight. After notifying air traffic control of his decision, he went from about 1,200 to 2,100 feet in a fairly steep incline. They cleared the fog bank. At this point, Kobe's mentioning something about seatbelts, and I'm not sure what it is yet. I believe he's saying that everyone decided to don them when they began that steep incline. At around 2,100 feet, they leveled off. They were now in air traffic controlled airspace and above the fog. Everything was fine until seconds later something struck the helicopter. I don't know what it was, but it may have been a bird. But the damage was too great to continue on to their destination, and the pilot, had lost control of pitch. He made one last transmission, realizing he had to deviate off course. With only seconds to act, he used the GPS map to assess the best place to land the handicapped helicopter. He spotted a big open field at the base of the Calabasas Hills that, based on their current speed of about 115 knots, would have taken approximately 20 seconds to reach. His plan was to use auto-rotate to land safely. But only seconds after devising the plan, another mechanical failure occurred. They were dropping faster and steeper than before, and the pilot knew they weren't going to make the field, and that the possibility of a crash landing was high. At this point, the pilot made the difficult decision to avoid flying the failing helicopter over a heavily populated area, and he turned toward the Calabasas Hills. A few seconds later, another failure caused the helicopter to drop quickly. The passengers aboard knew at this point that their lives were going to end. The pilot made every effort to land the helicopter safely, but the damage was too great and the distance was just too far. The entire incident only lasted about 20 seconds. Kobe wants the world to know that the pilot was not at fault and should be remembered as a hero for saving more lives that could have been lost that day, if not for his brave decision. Gigi says, "Heaven is real. We do live on forever." Look, there is no good way to die. And there's no avoiding the inevitable pain felt by the loss through death. However, once the mourning's passed, hopefully you will understand that Kobe and Gigi were not taken away from us for no reason. They were called to a higher purpose. The last moments of Kobe's life were spent holding his daughter in his arms and providing her with the same fatherly love, hope, and security that he had given her all of her young life. Gigi was able to look her father in the eyes and say, "I love you, Dad." She kissed him, closed her eyes. Hugging him close, she buried her face in his chest, and she prayed for God to take care of her mom and sisters until they see each other in heaven. Her final moments were spent in love and appreciation for her father and family. No one aboard suffered any physical pain as their souls left their body before impact. The emotional suffering only lasted seconds and had no lasting effect on their souls. The final report should include the reason for the accident, and it's estimated to be out in September or October of 2020. This is when we will all know the truth. Until then, I encourage you to keep an open mind and loving thoughts for all of those who have passed before us. As humans, we can only see 10% of the light spectrum. Let that sink in a moment. Look around you right now and realize that 90% of what is around you is unseen. This is where Kobe and Gianna exist now. They're not gone. They've simply transformed. Live your life knowing that we all have angels watching out for us. Who knows? Yours just might be Kobe or Gigi Bryant. Wish them luck on their continued journey together. Life is meant to be lived in the moment. Each moment we have here is a gift. This is why it is called the present.